the world has gotten to know you from Glee, but when did the idea to write come into the equation? Before, or was it inspired by TV?
You know, it was always in the equation for me. Like, it was something that I've always wanted to do since I was a wee little kid. And I used to write stories for my grandmother and for myself. And yeah, it's always been a passion of mine.
I see some character crossover there. So
yeah,
is
totally.
Carson based on you?
That relationship with his grandmother is definitely a relationship I have with mine.
And is that story from like a memory from your past?
No. I mean, I was never told by my grandmother, oh, you need a little more development or anything like that. No, my grandma was always my first editor. Like I'd go over to her house late at night because she lived close by. I'd ride my bike over there, and I would say, "Grandma, I wrote a chapter for my book someday," and I'd hand her 2 pages, and that was the chapter in like size 20 font. And she'd read over. She'd be like, "Okay, all right, you could stretch this out a little bit if it's going to be a novel, but you're on to a good start."
And how'd you go from 2 pages of 20 size font to a feature-length screenplay?
Oh, age, time will help. But screenplays I think are easier to write than novels, of course. Because I got my first book coming out in July, which of course was dedicated to my grandmother. But just age and time. The more you live, the more you know how to include things.
Did you get in on the format of writing a screenplay from working in TV, or is that something that taught you?
No, I used to, after school I'd walk to the Borders that was in our town, and I would pick out, I never bought it because it was $40 and I could not afford $40. Especially on a big book, but it was Sofia Coppola's screenplay of Marie Antoinette, and I'd sit in the Barnes and Noble for like an hour and I'd just read it like every day, and I'd read it and that's how I taught myself how to screenwrite, just going off of how she did it.
So was there one day in your life where you're just like, you know what, I've got this story and I'm gonna write it now? And did you start?
Yes, yeah, that was it was something I always wanted to do, and I would do like bits and pieces here, bits and pieces there, because I always wanted to be a screenwriter, always. And in high school, I when I came up with the idea, I was like, oh, this would be a great movie, and I toyed with it a little bit here, a little bit there, and I think the original title was Cloudy Days. I don't know why. Silver Linings much better. And then halfway through season 1 of Glee, when Glee was starting to become kind of a thing, I thought, oh, I might be able to have a platform to do this on, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to write it and then I'm going to pursue it. So I did.
And what was the process like? Did you sit down and just plow through it, or was it a slow process?
Tricky. It was tricky because it's so not like the typical movies with like a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's kind of end, middle, end, beginning, end, beginning, middle. You know, it's strange because it goes back and forth. So I would literally, I kind of like had a timeline of the events as they happened, and then I would rearrange them. Like I had like post-it notes that I'd rearrange, and Carson's story along with the adult story, and would have to mix match. And this scene's best after here, this scene's best after here.
So what happened after you wrote the end on your script? Who did you give it to? Who did you contact?
I called my acting agent, Meredith Fine, first. I called her one night, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and she answered, thank goodness. And I was like, Meredith, so I might want to write now. How would I do that? And she's like, oh God, oh God, another kid with a screenplay, and all right, send it to me and I'll read it and I'll give you my honest opinion, Chris. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion. And I was like, okay, terrified. I sent it to her, and like she called me back like that night, go, this is good, this is funny. I laughed out loud 5 times. You got to do this. And I was like, oh yay! And then I started interviewing managers to help me make it, and signed with Glenn Rupberg, who is one of the producers of the movie, and he spearheaded the whole process, and we kept adding people to the production of it.
And now, how about your director hunt? Did you ever consider directing it yourself?
Yes, briefly for about 2.5 seconds, but then I got over that because I was also, while this movie was being planned, I was on a world tour with Glee, so I physically could not. I didn't think I wanted to, but I physically could not direct it, and I don't know if directing is really something that I would be passionate about, like cut, action, this shot, lighter, tighter, closer, over there, set up, I'm not sure that's a path that, I'm sure I'll probably get there eventually, but not as of right now. But Brian was the first director that we met with. And in the meeting, he looked at me and he said, I really want to do this because I was this kid. And then that he sold me on that. Like I was like, score. This is the guy we need to go with.
And I was thinking about Saved, and like these are 2 completely different movies here, but there's kind of like a similar tone.
Similar, like very sarcastic teenage, a real sense of real, yeah.
And how was it working on him? Because, like, you know, this is your first feature screenplay. It's your baby.
Yeah,
You got to hand it over to
someone.
someone.
My hat's off to him because I remember being okay on set, but I must have been a nut. Like I must have been crazy because I was so. It was my baby, and it's like it's like the first time you let someone babysit your child, you know. But he did great, and I think he made it better. He made it just as good as it was in my head, if not better. Like it was insane. It was insane how in sync we were.
Were there any changes he made?
No. The third change that we would talk together, like simple things because we wouldn't have the budget to film something here or there, and you know, like for a perfect example, we didn't have the budget to actually film the New Yorker dream sequence at the real New Yorker, so we had to like, you know, make our office into the New Yorker, things like that, but nothing major.
Yeah, you co-produced this too, right? So
Yeah.
you kind of have a hand in all of those kinds of duties.
Yeah. I just had power. It was fun.
Did you have like one main duty as a co-producer? Like you being an actor, maybe casting, was that kind of your realm?
I think I was just kind of in all the decision making and was very, very strong-willed about giving my opinion about certain things, and there were many things that because we were in such a low budget that I had to fight for to get, and not that anyone wanted to cut them, there just was no money to do certain things, but I was adamant that we have to, like I was adamant about the homecoming, that was probably the most expensive night of shooting with all those floats and extras, and actually all those extras are fans that came out to be in the movie, so that was really special, and it's really special that they did that because that saved us a lot of money. So that was like my idea, like, no, let's have fans come out and be in that. We'll save money and we can have floats, you know, things like that.
And then you get a really genuine reaction
and then you get a
from them when
genuine
you come out.
reaction. And then everyone is excited in their movie, and I'm excited in their movie, and it'll be a story for me to tell and for them to tell. Yeah.
So how exciting was it for you to see this thing that you had written come to life?
It was great. I mean, I'm such a Gemini. Like one part of me was like, oh my God, amazing! This is amazing. I'm so doight. I'm so surreal. It's just so. I'm in shock. This is crazy. I can't believe this is actually happening. And the other side of me is like, of course it's happening. You've been working on it for long enough. Like, duh, you're here. Of course, it's supposed to happen. So I go back and forth between that, but I'm mostly doight.
And what about for you in particular inhabiting Carson? Because you wrote him, but I imagine you still had to do some work to get kind of in his mind frame.
Yeah, he was such a character. He's kind of a persona that I invented a long time ago, kind of like the anti-me, like a guy who said anything he wanted and did not care what people thought about him, where I'm the exact opposite. And so it was really easy to fall into him because he's been with me for so long, and he's been with me much longer than Kurt Helm from Glee, which people I think don't realize he's not something I created like in contrast to Kurt. He's been with me forever.
Oh, you definitely created him to a point though.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing, when you write a screenplay, you write for these characters that you picture, but then you cast the role